Hi, this is Brad, and in this video, we take a 3-hour road trip west of myself in Florida to a 20-acre homestead where we spent the day doing a whole bunch of different projects. You'll see more videos on those projects later. This video is just getting Brad, the property owner's thoughts at the very end of the day of what he thought about the Ventrac. Hope you enjoy. I'm Brad. This is Brad. We've been here for, what time did I get here?
You got, let's say 8 o'clock this morning.
Yes, about 4 or 5 hours. Yeah. So we've been working for about 4 or 5 hours. Brad put most of those hours on. The reason I wanted Brad to do that is because he's got a lot of seat time on Kubota, the L series, right? They're mainly L series.
All L series.
So he's coming from a point where he can offer some experience. So I want Brad to talk about the pros and cons of each that he saw from 1,000 hours, 1,300 hours, and now the 2 or 3 or 4 hours he's got on the Ventrac. So what'd you think of it?
So my 1,300 hours on the L series is on an L2800 and 2 L3800s and L3901. So basically that 30 to 39 horsepower tractor, 5-foot brush cutters. Most of the work I've done on those tractors has been with brush cutters. I got a 1,200 acre hunting lease and I got 20 acres out here in Piney Grove. And you either have grass that needs mowing, you have brush that needs mowing. So I've got experience with 3 different types of brush hogs. The brush hog is behind the tractor, so you can't really see what it's doing. So that's a negative on the tractor and the brush hog side. With the Ventrac, it's in front of you. You can see what it's doing. One thing I did like about the Ventrac is if you are mowing up next to a building, it's got a rear discharge, but it doesn't really throw grass everywhere. When I'm using a brush hog, it's always throwing to my right. You got to be conscious of that or else you'll be throwing grass up against buildings or maybe slinging rocks in the windows. Maneuverability, the Ventrac is definitely going to win. It articulates in the center and it also has independent suspension. So it handles rough and uneven terrain way better, and while it's doing that, it maintains kind of a level straight cut. A brush hog doesn't. A brush hog is going to scalp in areas. If you go over uneven terrain, a tractor does not have independent suspension. So that's definitely a plus for a Ventrac. I would say the Ventrac is definitely suited for a property like if you have a pasture like we have and you're not going to hay it and you want to keep it mowed. That rough cut deck I think is great if you want to do pastures as well as some rough cutting. The cutting we did on our pastures was good enough. I would not want a better finish than that because I also would want the versatility of cutting some brush. It cut it better than the brush hog, and we had them side by side. We ran them exactly side by side so we could see it. It wasn't like we're guessing that it was. We can actually see it. And it's wider. So it's wider than a brush hog. It's 72 inches. Which is a great thing for pastures. I will say when I got in the woods that my pines are not wide enough, and because it's limited on how big a diameter of tree or brush that it can knock over, that sometimes I got bound up, but I still got farther into the woods than I could have with a tractor. Even with the loader off of my tractor, I couldn't have cleared as much as I did in the rough areas, but I will say that a brush hog can handle thicker material, but that's by design. I mean, Ventrac comes out and says 1 inch is the maximum, and we were certainly pushing that limit.
No, we weren't. We never cut anything that was over 1 inch, and there's no tape measures on hand to prove or disprove that statement. So,
so that definitely, that maneuverability is awesome. The double wide tires, I can see where that's needed for flotation, and that was really, really good on the pond slope. I was really impressed on the pond slope. And you did one pond slope, and that came out really well, and you went farther than I thought it could go, and then you let me do the other pond slope, which was similar in slope, and it felt a little dicey, but that's just because I'd never done it before. It felt, the machine did not slip, the machine was rock steady, it handled it well, but internally, I had never done it before, so there was a little bit of pause there, but I got the job done, we captured that, and it looks fabulous, and it didn't scalp, so that's definitely a plus for the Ventrac. The Kubota, I couldn't have got a lot of those little tufts of grass that were in these little weird places around the pond. I would have had to get them by hand with a string trimmer. And with that Ventrac, you never have to get off of it. You can do all that.
That's nice. The point of these videos, get people with experience and show it being used so that you can make a decision for yourself, so you can see the strengths and weaknesses. Any kind of tractor is not an insignificant expense. We're never going to know your financial situation, the properties that you have, how close your nearest Kubota dealer or TYM dealer or Ventrac dealer. All those are things that are going to play into your decision, and we'll never know.
You know, you talked about that financial situation, and you can't have every piece of equipment, right? I think most people that have a tractor would love to have every piece of equipment. When you bring finances into it, you're going to have to make that decision. I would say if I had 100 acres and I was doing a lot of either pasture mowing or what you do, some of that extreme heavy grass mowing that you do on your channel, I would say that Ventrac, that would be a must-have. You wouldn't want to do that with a 5-foot king cutter, brush hog behind a tractor. I would say your property size matters when it comes to that. On a 20 acres and 6 of it's pasture, I can probably, for the financial difference, put up with the 5-foot width and the fact that it's behind me and some string trimming around the pond. But if finances were not a factor, I would love to have that machine as well as my Kubota.
Like Brad said, it all comes down to you personally. So I've got a good friend of mine who's got a 100-acre farm in Baker County, and he's got I think a 96-horse tractor with like a 15-foot bat wing that he uses to maintain. For me, a 96-inch mower on the Ventrac is like, yeah, that's really big. And he'd be like, okay, that's half of what I'm cutting with. So again, it all comes down to you. I just hope that this information is going to help you make a decision. The other thing too, on Brad's channel, we did 3 or 4 projects at least here. So he's going to probably be making videos on each one of those, sharing more of his insights. So all the links to those videos, or at the very least, his channel is going to be down there. So you can check those out if you want to see more Ventrac action and also get more feedback from someone who's very experienced in Kubota sharing what he thinks about those. But again, thank you very much, and this won't be the last time Brad and Brad team up for some fun Ventrac videos.
Sounds great. Can't wait for the next one, guys.
Thanks so much for watching. Have a good one.